vulnerability is actually the best marketing. That makes you real. You know, there's so much fakeness online. We would have become friends if I didn't become good at what I was doing.
I wouldn't have been speaking to you.
Yeah, I know. I think first 3 years was a nightmare because I didn't know what I was doing. Your ads front end, but then people really are researching you. If you're not excited about your own product, then why should they be? I think I probably worked with 300-400 schools. Actually, that's probably one of the best sales tips I got given as well was...
On this episode of the Elite Podcast, I speak to online marketing expert and entrepreneur Swapnil Garg. This episode should not be missed.
Swap, how are we doing?
Really good, mate.
Brilliant. Thanks for coming.
Mate, it's a pleasure. I'm well excited for this. So,
Good. So you found the place all right then. Bit of a trek, isn't it? From Peterborough, isn't it?
Peterborough, yeah. 3.5 hours.
Was it?
Yeah,
you thought it was in Telford as well, didn't you?
Yeah.
Oh, no. When did I tell you, actually? No, actually, it's Liverpool.
Yeah.
I think I told you originally, but you must have
I'd probably
assumed
didn't hear it. I
otherwise.
assumed it was like...
I'm sure the
Telford.
mistake was yours, not mine. But so it took you 3.5 hours to get up here, did it?
Yeah. I mean, about 3.5. I thought I'd get hit by loads of traffic, but it wasn't that bad. Really.
Nah, you were on the way back.
Yeah, well, yeah, I know. But
I know, yeah.
stick on a few audiobooks, will be all right.
Absolutely, mate. Yeah, good. Do you do those much? Listen to the audiobooks?
Yeah, I think it's made a huge difference. Like last few years, I think I've been through. I try getting through a book and 2 books a month.
Yeah, that's good. If you, do you subscribe on Audible, pay $6.99 a month, and
and I always get more credits. I seem to be doing that a lot now.
yeah, I've got a backlog of credits though now. I feel like I've got in my library, I've got about 140 titles in there already. Yeah. And like if I get a new one now, it's like gold dust because you feel like I've listened to a lot of them and a lot of it's a lot of recycled stuff. But I think it's good when you get it sometimes from somebody, even if it's similar stuff, because revising and revising stuff over and over again is good anyway, isn't it? Repetition. So if it comes from someone's slightly different perspective, you can sometimes take it in, a little bit more, can't you?
I think I've not been a really big reader, like in the sense I can read books, don't get me wrong, I think for me, just as soon as I discovered audiobooks quite a few years ago, that was a game changer because I think as long as I'm consuming more content. But,
as long as you're taking it in.
Yeah, but that's the key thing, isn't it? As long as you're learning from it. So I think sometimes you can get to a stage where you just do loads of courses and everything. You just become a course junkie or a book junkie.
You certainly are. You've done loads, haven't you?
I had to. Like that was the only way I could get ahead. Really, you got to learn, otherwise you'll never excel, I don't think.
No, of course.
But then learning is one thing, but then implementing is the next thing.
It's the thing. You can become one of those people that's just obsessed with learning and never implements anything. And, sometimes too much information is bad. Like if you've got too much information and you can procrastinate, you can get analysis paralysis, they call it, don't they?
Dopamine thing, isn't it?
You're just like, oh my God. Yeah, you get dopamine hit from going on the event because it's great and everyone's buzzing from it. And then you come back and the reality is that wears off. Yeah. No one's implementing anything. You only need one idea, I think. Just one simple idea and just implement it and just keep going until you've, got
I think the biggest thing, I've been on a lot of courses where it's also in person. And quite a bit in the property industry as well, actually. And then
that's always done similar ones to me, haven't you?
Yeah, and I've just find that sometimes you find the same people going to the same ones again and again. You're like, surely you must be putting something into practice, but sometimes they don't. There's just like the environment. And
they seem to love it. And some of them aren't actually successful either, and then they end up becoming mentors within some of these. Well, that's what made me think when I'd been to a few of these places. I was like, where's the actual successful people? Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Because a lot of the times you go into these courses and you think, I'm going to be surrounded by all these great successful people, and they're not. There are a lot of people that are less successful than yourself that are all trying to achieve something and getting promised the world, and no one's actually receiving it. So
I think social media, isn't it? Like you can make people believe what you want really on there, but they don't really know the real reason, do they? So in the sense, like you could have, I've seen it so much in the industry where people will be showing things and while in fact they're not successful at all.
Yeah.
So you just got to be wary, aren't you, really? I think one of the biggest tips, actually yesterday or the day before, I had someone come to me locally to where I live in Peterborough and he was just asking advice because like, okay, how do I get into make money online? Sort of
thing.
And I was
it's a big thing at the minute, isn't it?
And I was like, I didn't realize how much I've done until I chatted.
Yeah, you don't, do you?
No.
Yeah, till you start talking. Go, actually, I'm quite knowledgeable in that.
And I was like, wow. And then he was like, wow, that's a great thing. And I think the biggest tip I gave him, which I think anyone that listens to this should do, is that if you find someone, like go and find the industry leaders, but find their testimonials and then reach out to them and speak to the people rather than just blindly going and buying courses and stuff and just going, or just see a picture of something. Could be made up, but video testimonials can't be made up.
No, that's
Probably one of the main reasons why I got known in our industry was because I've got the most video testimonials.
You've got loads, haven't you? And I think lots of people seen that you've been working with people that are right at the very top. I talk about this in my book, about association with people that are right. So there's a model for success. You don't need to kind of reinvent the wheel. You find whoever's the leader in that particular industry, or the top people, and you associate with them. Do you know what I mean? You just knock around with them, you hang around with them, you work with them, and then it all rubs off, and then you're associated with them as well. There's more to it than that, but that's one of the things. You got to have a good product as well, whatever it is. That's the thing that's missing a lot of the time on a lot of the online stuff. I feel that is, some of the marketing's great, but there's no, I spoke to you about this earlier, didn't I? There's no real product. Like, so a lot of these online coaches teach you how to be an online coach, and their business model is based on you sending them money to show them what they're doing, I think, and then you have to go off and do it. So it's like a pyramid scheme almost. There's nothing actually of any value. Where's the actual thing you're learning apart from to be an online? I
think you should have done it yourself before you go and teach it to someone. Yeah, and I think a lot is happening in the industry where they'll watch a course, not implement it themselves, and then just resell it. Yeah, saying that they've done it. So it's quite a big thing. But I think you need to find people that know this stuff. But you're right. Like what we were chatting about. I don't think we would have become friends if I didn't become good at what I was doing. Because I wouldn't have been speaking to you. Yeah, I know.
I'm way too busy.
Exactly. So, I think that's a big thing that people need to, and I've just done this lately, even with my agency and the coaching side, is I had to look back as to how can I make this product even better? Because people will come into your industry all the day long. You always have competitors, and I think it's a good thing. Yeah, it keeps you on your toes. But then you also have to look back. Like there's so many school owners and people I speak to where it's just, if you've got students leaving quite a lot, then you need to fix your product.
Yeah, absolutely. So what you do with your marketing is exceptional. We work with you. British Military Martial Arts have worked with you. All our schools work with you, and the results that we've had from your Facebook marketing compared to the traditional way that we were doing it has made a real big difference. But what we have is a good product. We've got a good system for dealing with and responding to the leads. And then we've got really good classes. And then we've got a follow through, and we've got it retaining the students. So I think sometimes people, because what you do is good, but sometimes do you ever find that people are going like, I've got the leads, but my school's not getting it? Do you ever get that? Like, my school's
I get it loads.
Do you? Tell us a little bit.
I think you're so right on that. I think it's so important that you need to have your back end systems, all your retention, all this stuff. Like generally, you need to have a good product or service. There's no marketing in the world that will fix it. You might get leads and people coming through, but if you're
just going to burn through them, aren't they? Yeah.
And then the word of mouth is not there. People won't recommend you. I think that's probably the best thing. If someone recommends you, you're doing something right. Yeah. And I think that's a good indicator. And if someone is like, I don't get no referrals, I don't get nothing, then
that's because referrals should really be your main thing. But you don't get any referrals, you've got no students to start with. So it's like, which comes first, the chicken or the egg? So you definitely need paid marketing as well, because it feeds the students in, gives you a base level. Then your product should be good. Your service, when I say products and service in martial arts, when I mean that, I mean great classes, really well trained instructors, and your students getting good. Do you know what I mean? Actually getting really good, and losing weight, getting fit, getting confident, and and ticking all of those boxes, and running a professional tight ship as well. So all the little things are done correctly, and once all those are correct, they're going to refer, and you've got all this external marketing working, so people are coming in. Then you're going to grow. You're going to hit a tipping point then where you got to a certain size when you can't do that if you're just relying on your just relying on you to save their whole martial arts school. In some cases,
I've had it quite a few times. Where people will be like, they do it, but then I didn't do my research enough to know if they had a good product. That was quite a big mistake early on that I used to do. But then I'd get amazing results at the front end, but then people leaving out from the back end. So it just, I think marketing nowadays has changed quite a lot compared to when we first started doing a few years back and stuff. So I think a big thing I've noticed now is that you run these lead form ads or whatever it is on Facebook, people will not fill it in. They'll actually go and research you and then come through your website.
Do you know what? Huge. That's actually started. We noticed that there was a big drop in the amount of actual leads you were getting, and a drop in quality in some of them as well, you know, the ones in the back end, but we were still getting them. Yeah. So, and I spoke to you about that, didn't I? It was about 2 years ago, was it? Or so that started changing.
Yeah,
or was it just after, is that because it just got worn out, everyone was doing it and people were
I think after the pandemic and stuff.
It was,
it was literally, so many people came online, and that kind of marketing still works, don't get me wrong, but it's not as effective compared to it was before. And I think people are just more skeptical now. I think they just want to know, especially now with the recession thing that they keep saying that's coming and stuff. I think people are really wary on what they're still spending money, but they just want to make sure it goes to the right person, or wherever it goes is going to the right place. So I think now I've noticed this with all clients is you'll be running your ads front end, but then people really are researching you. They'll put your name in.
It's quite easy to do that.
And I think that's why it works so well with what you guys do.
Yeah, well, hopefully we've built up enough of a backlog over the 25 years we've been in business of good, good information and testimonials and proof of concept as well with the schools, which is another thing that needs doing. And I know a reason people don't do that sometimes is, why do you think it is? It's because it's hard work, innit? Yeah. They want it the shortcut. And it's easier to just blame someone else and point the finger rather than look at yourself, look at the fact that your classes might not be good enough or the way you're dealing with them. And I'll tell you what, another thing that a lot of people do as well, and I've noticed this a lot with instructors, is the more leads they get, the less careful they are with them and the less important they seem. Yeah. Like every lead should be the most important thing in your life. Like it should be, that's how I treat it. Like it's the most important thing ever, every single one of them. And if you're getting more and more of them and they're less important to you, you're dealing with them not as well. It's almost like self-sabotage because you're not going to grow your school. It's like getting more money and then spending more money. So you're in exactly the same situation.
So I've got a question for you. So like when you guys and when you tell your team and stuff, you get a lead, how many times do you contact them? Because the amount of people I speak to, they would give up after second call or something like that.
7, I think we go for about 7. Because if they say 7 points of contact anyway, don't they? In marketing, it's it should be. What I always say, and actually say this on my training course, is if they haven't blocked you, or they haven't got an injunction out on against you, then you've not tried hard enough.
People are scared to do it, I think. Or they feel uncomfortable. Probably not the right word, scared. I think they're just uncomfortable to reach out.
Should be politely persistent, I say. Yeah. Just keep prodding. Hello, politely.
I've had it. People say that when they actually do it, the other people, like parents and whatever, they actually appreciate it.
Some people want you to. Yeah. They're literally, right, do you know, this is what a lot of people like to do. They like to say, look, fitness for ladies. I need to get in shape. I'll apply for it. That's them making an effort to lose weight just by applying. And then they think they've done there a little bit then, haven't they? So if you just keep pestering them, they want to do it, but you haven't pestered them enough sometimes to literally give them that motivation.
Some people, like, if they want to do it, but they're afraid of going somewhere new and meeting new people and anxiety as well. So it's a big thing.
If I get hold of them eventually, I'll say, I got you. You are not getting away from me. You need us in your life, especially if you're that procrastinating that much that you're not going to get back to someone, and they just keep, contacting you for something you actually specifically said you were interested in. That's what type of person are you?
I think in the industry I've seen this as well. Is I think it's in every industry really, but if you get a lead, they will expect, especially in the martial arts industry, they expect that to convert straight away, meaning that they should come in now and buy my stuff. Yeah. But I think that's a big thing that I've noticed now is that Facebook ads and all this stuff is great, but use it just as a lead generation, they're not giving their credit card to you and saying, no, I want to buy now, but that's how they treat it. So I think
and then mindset if they don't buy straight away, then it's like
they leave it.
Then it's not worked. Yeah. It's a numbers game as well, isn't it? And it's about, like I said earlier, being very, very persistent and consistent with the small things, being done correctly. So every single lead that comes in should be, text, and then text again, and then called, and then an email. Send them by different means of communication, and then if not, go and knock on the window midnight. No, don't do that really. But what I'm saying is, be persistent and keep pushing. And if you're persistent on all of them, all of the time, guess what? Your score's going to be bigger to someone who doesn't. And then that combined with good classes. Now, a great intro procedure is what is important as well. So people miss that. If you just throw people into the chaos of a class, sometimes it's great. Certain people are built certain ways and they love it and they like the chaos. But for some people, they need shielding from it a little bit, and they need to be dealt with kid gloves slightly. So you need to just tease them into it. Be a professional, calm, quiet, personal environment. Almost like a private or small group intro where you can lay things out for them. They can trial it, and then at the end of it, you can sign them up. But then again, if you're going to sign them up, you need to have a call to action. You need to pre-frame them first in their confirmation message to let them know what the call for action is. So you're setting them up to buy on the day so that they bring their payment method with them. They know there's a special offer if they join that night, and then get them to sign that evening while they're excited. You don't let them go back and go home and then let the excitement die down and then not join up.
A lot of people do it, so you'd be surprised how they would run 2 weeks free trials but sell on the last week or something like that. It's just or they would not
do 2 weeks free trial and sign them the first night.
That's what I keep saying. It's like they
can do it to the end, but if they sign it tonight, there's an even better offer. Like if you don't do it, this is what I truly think, and it's not because I'm a hard-nosed salesman, because I'm not. I'm passionate about martial arts. I've grown the biggest chain of martial arts centres in the UK, not by accident, and it's because they need us in your life. You're doing a disservice if you allow that person out, because most people aren't as disciplined as me, aren't as consistent as me, and I haven't got the same amount of follow through as me or my team, and we have. So we need to, with them, make things as easy as possible and make sure we get them in. Otherwise, they need us. Once you're in their life, that rubs off on them. Their life is going to be of better value. And that's how I see it. And that's why I'm passionate about getting people to sign up. And if you do that with every single person. I think
people can sense it though as well. When you're excited. Yeah. Actually, that's probably one of the best sales tips I got given as well, was be confident and be excited as well. Because if you're not excited about your own product, then why should they be?
Exactly. Yeah. And another thing that people are, they really, really don't like asking for money. Yeah. And I understand that, because I experienced that when I first come out of the army, and I hadn't had any money. Especially didn't have that much in the army really. It paid you all right, but it wasn't like great. And I'd come from just a normal working class family. So I just didn't want to ask for money. I was really uncomfortable with it, and I would try and do what I needed to avoid it. But the main thing of what is business, it is asking for money, isn't it? And if you want more business, you have to have more people, or you have to ask them for more money. It's like not rocket science. It's the only way you make. And if you struggle asking people for money, you are not going to grow. You're not going to have a good score. I don't care if you're flipping Jean-Claude Van Damme.
I think it's the reps, isn't it? You have to put the reps in to ask as well, and it can be uncomfortable at first. It's like, but then you have to push yourself. You have to
overcome it. It doesn't matter if something's uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable training.
I think if you flip it the other way around and you say to yourself, look, if I'm not doing this, then I'm doing disservice. Exactly. And I can't help people. So then I should ask.
That's what you need to do. Flip it that way. If you struggle for yourself, think about them, and place value on yourself as well. If you're a martial artist and you've trained probably at least 5 years. Most people is a lot more, 10, 15, 20 years. Like, how many thousands of hours have you put in? How much money have you paid? How much petrol money does it cost you to get to all these events and fly to tournaments and all the things that you've done? And that would have cost you tens of thousands of pounds probably. And people are shy about asking for a fair amount of money. You don't need to be extortionate and overcharge people, but you do need to charge fair value of what you're worth. If you're not worth it, then don't charge it.
Well, I think pricing is, you're the person that can put the price on it. Really, it's the true value of it. But if you look like in the US, how much they charge over there compared to here, they structure it so different there, don't they? You literally buy a beginner's program for thousands.
And then they try and upgrade you to the next program before you've even fulfilled that one for thousands. And then the next one, and that doesn't sit well with me.
No.
It's, you know, and what you're doing is you've got a liability there, not an asset. You've got to then service that person for a long, long time with no more money coming in.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's great. It's okay for people to pay up front for a year or so. If people wanted that's convenient for some people, and they're only going to do it if it is suitable for them, because some people don't like paying by direct debits. It's painful for the year. Give them a 10% discount or whatever if you want to. If you don't want to, don't do it. You know, all of it's down to you, isn't it? But you can do it. And I think if it's only a small percent of your business, you're not going to ruin the integrity of it, because what you do need is enough money coming in each month to pay your bills, to pay your staff, and to have enough left over.
I mean, like over there, it's about $150, $200 what they charge on a monthly thing over there. So, but I'm seeing the industry here is going up a bit, which is great.
It is great. It needed to go up somewhat though.
Yeah, because there's so much value. Like martial artists do to parents and to kids and stuff. Like they bring a lot of life skills and stuff. I think it's great to see the industry going up that way. And but there's a lot of people that's charged £20-30 a month, and I'm like, you're devaluing yourself.
You can't even rent a hall now. For that, you know. And
then you need to. Sometimes you just need to double your pricing.
Yeah.
And that's the thing you need to get more income. But it's just but then you have to feel it inside yourself.
Yeah, you have to really believe it as well, because if you're uncomfortable and then you get a rejection, you instantly think it's price, and it's not always. I mean, the average price in the UK is probably between 50 and 100 quid, I'd say.
It is, yeah.
But more in the middle. I'd say the average one's somewhere in the middle, about 70 odd quid now. Even all the MMA places, when they first come out years ago, weren't charging hardly anything. And now they're literally all of them, the BJJ places, they're all charging on the higher end, maybe 70 up to £100 a month. And then, you know, you've got this, if you're charging £20-30 a month, even for like one class a week, you're not going to you're going to put yourself in a very stressful situation. No one really pays that for anything nowadays.
I think if you charge more, you can put more towards your product, make your service better, and then it just kind of snowballs from there. It's just, but if you don't, you just not doing a good job then.
It's a very controversial thing to talk about price in martial arts, and there'll probably be people commenting about this, even having a discussion about it, but I don't mind, because it's a conversation that needs to be had. Ripping people off is absolutely not acceptable. Upgrading people to services and courses that they're not ready for, that are out of their ability, or that are just totally overpriced, is not acceptable. But supplying people with kit they need for relevant belts is upgrading someone as they advance through the program because they now need more training, is charging a fair fee for a beautiful full-time centre. So I just want the martial arts instructors out there to know they don't need to feel guilty about it, you know, and what's going to hold them back is a successful person is not going to say anything. The only person that's going to say anything about the price is someone who's not very successful and doesn't have very much money from what they do. And that is and they're going to be bitter because of it, and they're going to try and pull you back down to their level. But I think that's changed somewhat now. I think people are starting to move out of that. If you're feeling angry about me talking about price now, then, you know, we need to have a chat. Do you know what I mean? Because you're the problem. It's not, you know, because we just said it's all about integrity. And having integrity is what's fair for everybody, isn't it? Yeah, I think it's fair that the instructors are paid as well. Do you know
pricing
what I mean?
Is so important. It's like, if you don't value it yourself, you don't charge what you're worth, then why would anyone else, you know, in that way? So it's just I think it's good. Yeah, like you say, the industry is changing a lot, which is great. It's great to see. But I think it's just,
we want it to change more. That's what I want it to do, and I want to help as many people as we possibly can. Do you know what I mean? It's because there's so many great martial arts instructors out there. The standard of martial arts now, the way it's taught, is amazing. Still loads of little things that, if you haven't read my book yet, I could probably improve it. Do you know what I mean? Or if you haven't done any of the training courses, but there's always room for improvement. And if you don't realise that, then you're not going to grow. So, you know, but there is some fantastic martial artists out there, and a lot of them are really stressed and don't earn much money. A lot of them aren't. Some of them are doing really well as well. So, you know, it's out there. The knowledge is out there. And the only thing that's holding them back really is probably themselves, isn't it? Yeah,
it's thriving, I think, the industry, from what I can, especially after the pandemic. It was so easy
afterwards.
Just like...
We opened 10 full-time centres during the pandemic, and they filled them immediately after. using the tap system from yourself as well. Because what we did, we grew. British Military Martial Arts has grown. We've opened over 200 schools in the 25 years I've been in. And we grow. We do loads of internal marketing and loads of face-to-face old school stuff that people don't really do anymore. So we go into the primary schools, we do assemblies, we're on the school gates, we get in the schools to send out text messages or emails directly to the parents, and then we'll be on the school gates taking names, telling the kids on the assembly we're going to be on the gate, and we can fill up a new school launch from one assembly. So I think it's important. How we've done a lot of it, but a lot of people don't do that because it's effort.
It's work.
Yeah, just get Swapnil put an ad on for me. If it doesn't work, I'll blame him.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? No,
I think you need a marketing mix. You can't just rely completely on just one. Like if Facebook goes down, for example, what are you going to do?
It doesn't work all the time. Well, I've noticed, and you must notice that. Yeah. It changes all the time, doesn't it? Certain Facebook, I don't know why they don't keep it consistent, but they're like always trying to keep you on your toes. I know they always want more money off you, don't they? Yeah. But one time it can be flying 1 month, and another month it can be a little bit flat, even if you've got everything bang on. So just if you know it's worked and you're following the systems, stick.
I think the biggest way I see it going and everything is ads still are important, but I think content is such a big thing that no one does. So I mean, in the sense of you like showing why you're good and then showing your classes, but making it educational, really.
Definitely.
I just see all the time is it was funny because I always say this, especially on sales calls, but basically I would ask people, so what do you think parents think martial arts is? Like if they don't know much about martial arts, they think about the other competition, which is football, swimming, and all the other activities. A parent normally thinks martial arts is kicking and punching, generally. Yeah. And every martial arts is putting that exactly same thing on their page. Then why would they pick it? They're like, oh, it's just kicking and punching. It's not really what I want for my child. But then if you flip it and show, this is what we show with mat chats or life skill stuff, whatever you do, but no one showcases it.
No, that's it.
That I think is going to become huge going forward.
Definitely. And personal branding. We spoke about this earlier. This is a really big thing. Yeah. And when you find out the reason why, it makes perfect sense. Like the mind can't really, like branding, everyone knows how branding works in business. Is you associate a logo or something or a particular image with an association, like you do with the flag. You think of the British flag. Yeah.
Virgin, you got Richard Branson. Apple, who used Steve Jobs when he used to be. Amazon, Jeff Bezos.
Yeah, exactly.
All of these big companies.
And if you look at their Instagram followers, right, and Joe Rogan and the Joe Rogan podcast, the person has like 10 times more followers than the actual brand, because people can relate to people. And there's a part like you can't relate to a logo. There's not a part of your brain that can make a physical attachment with a logo. You can feel proud of one, like you do, like the Parachute Regiment logo. That means a lot to me, and that was drilled in through like years of brainwashing. Then you've got like the Union Jack flag. Like anyone who's patriotic loves their flag. Or if you're from another country in the world, then your flag means a lot. Yeah. But that is different to a personal relationship with someone. So personal branding, once you've like watched, they say 7 hours. So it's quite a lot of time. 7 hours worth of content of a person. Then in that person's brain, they know no difference between them and a friend. Yeah. So like it's the same. So say for example, someone's read my book, they've watched a few of my podcasts. They could have done one of the online courses, for example, and then watched other footage on the internet and on YouTube. They will feel like and they will, rightly so, because if your personal branding is correct, which means you're consistent throughout all the information you put out, people will feel like they know you. And I'm consistent because I am me. I don't pretend. I don't literally like pretend to be Lee Matthews when I come out on a podcast and then go home and kick my cat and abuse on my family. I am me constantly, like day in, day out. So it's not hard for me to portray that. So someone can actually feel like they know you, and I would never have met them ever, and they can come over to you, and that's nice though. And that's what you can do as a martial arts instructor with your content. So people can watch you teaching on there. They can watch the interactions with the children. They can speak to children in the video. They can speak to parents. They can see how they're happy. They can see little Johnny when he was fat and overweight, and now when he's all stacked and got a six-pack. you know, and he can tell you the story about when he, you know, stood up to the bully or whatever. And if all that information's throughout your feed and is consistent, and you're on there and you're presenting yourself in the local area, because if you're a martial arts instructor, you kind of are like a little minor celebrity. You can be if you set yourself up right within your community.
I think this is what they should do. Like I even say it's like ads and stuff is great, but the way I scaled my first business was through local marketing, local networking.
Yeah.
And that's how eventually you get. Now I think it's easy. I don't think martial artists know that. Or there's some of them do it, but they don't do it as effective. You become known in your area
quite easily.
Every business owner has kids, most of them, you know, it's a lot
You'll be
easier.
the go-to place. And if you stay there long enough, guess what we've got coming up at the Telford Academy, right? I started 25 years ago, and I've had people's kids they trained as a kid, and now their kids are training there again. Yeah. And we won't be long, we'll have the grandkids that'll be there as well, because we haven't moved, we've been there. A lot of the people that are still within Telford. When I had the one school, full-time school in Telford, I had 30 surrounding satellites. We've still probably got a similar amount now in and around that area. So, and we were in a lot of the primary schools in Telford as well as the full-time ones. So everybody knew where we were. We'd go in all the schools. I'd done assemblies for the kids. We'd be up the town centre every couple of months with a massive show. And then people are coming over to you, and people that you don't recognise, because 5 years ago, you know, they were 12 and now they're a 17-year-old grown up, and they're going, oh, I've just joined the military. And like, so you can really set yourself up as a key person of influence within your local community as a martial arts instructor, and then really kind of push that.
I think it's important. I mean, I that's what I did with this industry. Is if I didn't push my personal brand, I don't think I would have got known in the industry, really. If I just came in like an agency or something like that. No,
definitely, because an agency, I said, that's faceless. Yeah. You are the face, and you've associated with all the top people. You've worked with our guys. You've worked with Matt Fidesz as well, I know. You've worked with Gordon Butcham. Yeah. So there you go. Within the industry, you've got some of the top people right there, haven't you? Yeah. So then anybody else is going to think, well, this guy obviously knows what he's doing. And it took a bit of time, didn't it? So, you know, to really get through. Do you want to tell us a little bit how you managed to break through and get that to...
So 6 years, I think I've been in the industry. But
how long was you knocking on the door till it worked?
I spent so I'll start from like my uni days, and then it'll probably make more sense going that way. So I did business studies at uni, and 4 years and stuff. And after I graduated, so I specialized in entrepreneurship. But
you did that at uni? Yeah. Did you pass the degree?
Yeah, I passed.
Oh, wow.
But it's just... that
makes sense.
But the thing is that none of uni helped me.
Did it? Does it?
Actually, to be fair, I went out a lot when I was at uni, to be fair. But it's just...
You're forgiven. That's what it's about.
I think a lot of people...
You're going to get in you're going to get in years of debt. You might as well enjoy yourself.
I think, actually, this goes into a little bit of the earlier story, which I think is quite important as well, which I've not really shared out much, is before uni, I was... Well, still to this day, I love music a lot. So I DJ and trance and all this stuff.
Yeah, follow you.
So it's just that for me, that's where I started learning marketing first.
Really?
For me, because you had to become brand. You had to brand yourself to get DJ gigs.
Oh, to get the work at the gigs.
Yeah, basically. Yeah. So it's quite a hard market to tackle. So I used to just go to club nights. Yeah. Meet the promoters, become mates with them, which is kind of like... And then eventually I would make these CDs and mixtapes. Were they mixtapes? But no, I think it was CDs mainly at that time. But anyway, so yeah, I basically just did a lot of legwork in networking. And then that's how I started getting these gigs. But then I created back then Facebook was not around. No. So there was a group called Don't Stay In. But I created a Facebook group in that group. And then I was doing all this stuff before it was even a main thing. So in there, I had loads of people. I used to dish out CDs and stuff. And then eventually I realized I created my Swap brand. Yeah. And then that's how I started playing at pretty much quite a lot of big clubs.
Did you? Have you done some of the big scenes then?
Yeah. I mean, I did well. I wouldn't say I got as far as some of my mates have just scaled it and they're playing internationally. Which is awesome. They're amazing at what they do. I'm just pretty proud as far as I got. So I was playing for things like Gatecrasher, God's Kitchen.
Oh wow,
Passion.
That is good. Yeah.
You know, so played Passion a lot.
How was that? Enjoyable?
Yeah, that's when I realized.
Stressful or not? Or did you love it?
Oh, it's an amazing feeling.
You can take it up.
Yeah, you know, you play a tune and you see people erupt.
Yeah,
It's wicked. I still do it to this day.
Yeah.
But I realized that's when I started. I didn't know, but I was marketing myself really well. So personal branding. And then eventually at uni, after I left, I couldn't get a job for a few years. So what I ended up doing was my brother lived in Peterborough and I lived in a place called Boston near Skegness. So yeah, for 2 years, I didn't really do much. I was just lazing around, trying to get jobs. I think it was around the recession, around the 2008 kind of time. And so my brother was like, oh, let's start a body shop. Car body shop.
Yeah,
and,
it's a bit different from DJing, isn't it?
Yeah, and I was like...
Was it just not consistent enough work then as a DJ?
No, yeah, it was a hobby, really.
Yeah.
It was good. I mean, that you don't get paid really well until you become like big leagues. You know?
Yeah.
So now I was way away. I needed to make tunes to get to that point, but it wasn't a path that I thought I could get to at that time. So my brother was like... My brother loves cars, like he loves them to bits, and he did it like automotive engineering and all this stuff. So he was really into it. I like cars, don't get me wrong, but it's just it was like, oh well.
Was it his passion though, not yours?
Yeah, I mean, like I had quite a bit of passion with cars, but he was on another level with it. Like so, but it was like let's start a body shop, and I was like, eventually, I said, okay, let's do it. So I moved from Boston to Peterborough on my own. Went stayed with my brother, and basically opened this unit, invested about 40-50K and put this spray booth and everything, and literally as soon as it was done, we painted the walls and everything like that, and then sat down, and then we were like,
you got no customers.
What do we do from here? And then
So first thing we say, don't outlay money, get the customers first, and then build around those. Yeah.
And then that's when I was like, oh shit, I don't really know much about what I'm doing. I mean, I do some. That's when I knew uni wasn't useful, because the stuff that I learned at uni was very theoretical. But that's when my real learning started, because that's where I started from an empty body shop, had to learn how to market, local networking like BNI and stuff like that.
Everyone's got a car.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But it was a hard industry because
go around, start denting everyone's cars up in local. Knocking on the door the next day.
It did cross my mind. No, it didn't cross my mind. But it's just, it was hard because I had to wait for people to crash before they thought of me.
Yeah.
So that's quite a hard way to market. So obviously, eventually, I think first 3 years was nightmare because I didn't know what I was doing. And then that's where...
You survived for 3 years with no customers or limited customers?
Very limited. So I hardly ever took any money for myself, or me and my brother did. And I had staff as well. So... as every business owner knows, you pay your staff first, and eventually you take yourself a little bit. But then, eventually, I think it was my fourth year that I met someone who was a Google Ads expert, like a consultant.
Yeah,
and
pay-per-click.
Yeah, and at that time, Facebook was not even a big thing then. I think it just started. So it was
they were all good back then. Everything worked so much better back then because there was less competition.
Exactly.
They were cheaper. And now you pay more and you get flipping...
I think Facebook ads just started as well. Yeah. So it was just 2013. And this guy basically showed me how he created a funnel. And I didn't know what he was doing at that time. I knew that I liked marketing, but I didn't know what to do. So, and that's when he switched the ads on and it just went crazy. Like my phone started ringing but that's when I figured out I don't like getting on phone calls with people. So that's another fear thing a lot of people have. So I tried everything, flyers, networking, local networking, events, and then the ads eventually was what worked.
So you had a product and then you just sat there with no one knowing about you, which is what a lot of martial arts schools have. They're great instructors. Some of them even got great locations as well, but they just don't have enough leads, you know. So you need a good product and then you need lots and lots of leads. But then you need both together.
Then you need exposure, really, to get out there. And I think for me, eventually, I ended up selling that business, so it did grow and everything.
Did you manage to make your money back and pay for itself?
Yeah, it did all right. You know, like it didn't sell for what I wanted exactly.
No,
but
they never do they?
But for me, I think the biggest thing was I found my passion, which was marketing through that business eventually. So because I started learning about paid ads and everything. So eventually sold that business, and that's where my next chapter started. Was literally a year and a half. I did work for free, no money, to know what I learned worked.
In what?
In just general marketing. So that's where Facebook ads and stuff. This is how I started getting into the ads industry. And I bumped into a martial arts coach in one of the property places. So,
is that what it was? Who was that?
Gordon.
How was it? Oh, no way.
Yeah. So, and I just heard someone really loud behind me, and whoever knows Gordon knows it's pretty loud. And I was working with some property investors at that time, building their funnels.
Was that the progressive property? I went on that one as well. Yeah,
so
good course that was actually.
I lived around the corner from it, and that was before.
Of course, you're Peterborough, aren't you? Yeah,
and that was before Rob Moore becomes so big as what he is now.
Massive now, isn't he? Yeah.
It just. But then, I heard someone talking about martial arts, and I suppose this is quite a key thing. Reason why I got into martial arts industry.
It's good that he marketed himself and let people know, because that's a perfect example of networking right there. Because then.
Yeah,
this energy was there. You know, I might not have been where you are now, where you wouldn't have been, would you?
No. I think I'm really very grateful for Gordon, because he got me into the industry as well.
Yeah.
So, but the thing is that the reason why martial arts was another big thing for me is because I did it for 13 years as well. So
did you? What style did you do?
I did Wadaroo karate, and then I did kickboxing after.
Brilliant. Yeah.
So that was my
in Peterborough.
No, this is before I even
because I know a few of the coaches.
It was before the time that. So I'll tell that story in a second. But just that was the reason I started chatting with Gordon, because I was like, oh, he's done this. I was into this, and then eventually he saw me working with a guy called Paul Preston, and he was like, do you want to come in and teach my mentorship and stuff? And that's how I got into the industry. And then that's when I realized that writing ads and doing stuff for the martial arts industry just came like natural to me.
Yeah.
I just because I understood it.
Marketing, isn't it?
Yeah, and I understood the industry quite a lot because I was being part of it in a way. So, and that's where it started. And 6 years later, I'm sat here with you. But it's just like I grinded a lot at the start. I had to work.
You have to, don't you?
Because that was like another chapter, and then going networking again. I think the biggest thing for me was networking was a big part of it.
Tell me how you think that's important then, because I talk about this a lot, networking. Yeah. People don't understand the power of it, do they? Like, you can make up relationships and different opportunities open up, don't they? You don't need to literally try and sell your product when you meet people. No. You should just be trying to find out what everyone else is doing, let people know what you do, and just talk to them.
Just be you. Yeah. Just be yourself. I think if people can sense if you're not being yourself, and just find some common ground that you can talk about. It doesn't always have to be about business or anything. It's just, and then like with me and I suppose with Gordon was martial arts, and that's how we started chatting. And eventually, you don't know where it's going to go. So, I think the industry itself don't network out that much at all. They just stay in their little bubble.
But martial arts in general, yeah, you do find that. It can be a little bit bitchy. I think it's probably the same in a lot of industries, but it's quite splintered, isn't it? You've got all different disciplines, and then you've got different cliques. But I think if people let their guards down a little bit, they'd realise the man or woman to their front, their back, their left and their right have probably all got something they can learn from, and probably all know someone, or there's some type of synergy there somewhere if they were allow themselves to.
I think another big thing was, which was another thing I found was quite key actually. I didn't expect it to be, was my passion of music. I found that a lot of martial artists went clubbing a lot.
Yeah, of course. Everyone goes clubbing, don't they?
But
just anyone from the age of 18 to
specific to that music style as well. So
like, got a lot of energy, ain't they? You need it for that music.
And then whenever I was sat chatting to him and stuff, that I'd have some poster about Paul Van Dyke or something like that behind me, and they were like, I went to, and that's when I found that connection.
He's old school, isn't he, Paul Van Dyke? That's from when I was younger.
Still going.
Is he?
Strong.
How old is he?
I don't know.
He was older than
me. I don't want to say the wrong age.
No, he's older than me though, because he was DJing when I was like a teenager.
He's still like top of his game.
Wow.
Still there. Keep at it. So and then things like that. That's what people connect with. It's not your profession. It's who you are as a person.
Yeah, definitely.
About your hobbies and things like that. And I think a lot of times people don't show it. They just show their profession, and that's it. And I think that's the key thing that people miss out. It's just
that's very valuable information. What you just said there. So you network with as many people as you can. Don't just try to sell stuff or what you're doing. Just get to know them genuinely and authentically, and things will happen.
Well, there'll be some
organically.
people you just don't get on with.
Yeah,
so
of
just
course.
like, that's just normal, you just don't speak to them.
Exactly. You won't know otherwise, will you?
But that was another thing. Like, I think that's the body shop days. That taught me a lot because I used to go to every local networking business event, and I did that. And BNI, I did it for 4 years straight. And that's, if anyone knows about BNI, that's like getting up 6 o'clock in the morning and going to a local business networking event. So
So networking events are great. If you think about this as a martial arts instructor, though, and I know this from my own personal experience. If you have a club in like the town or city, like when we moved into our full-time centre in Telford, I knew a plumber, a carpenter, a builder. You know what I mean? I knew someone that did a painter, and it was amazing how many people helped me to like get things off the ground and kind of work with us, and so a big network of people all the time, don't you, from many different industries?
Yeah, and that's it's important to know them, I think, as well, because you've got a product that all of them want. The martial arts, I suppose, industry does. I think it's just being human, isn't it? You need to interact with other people. I think nowadays, especially with the internet and stuff the way it is,
people are rude now, aren't they? When they wouldn't be. If it was face to face, you wouldn't speak to someone and then they just blank you or ghost you. And that's quite. When I first started going onto social media, I mean, I was quite a lot older. I was probably 20, in my 20s, because it wasn't out till then. Or even text messages was probably. Yeah, it's probably probably 20 odd, when even text messages were starting to be used, and where people would just start blanking you. And I'm not a person that will be ignored. I didn't like that at all. I think it's just rude, isn't it? But that is the new way of saying no now. It's just ignoring people,
just
isn't
don't
it?
reply.
People, and people are rude as well. You see that a lot on social media, but people will comment and say something mean. I always say, if you're going to put something that's not very nice down, just don't put it. No. It's a lot of effort and energy you're having to build up to put something down. Just move on. Think it. If you want to have a little rant, think it in your head and think,
people just vent, don't they, really? I think that's the thing.
It's a very passive thing to do. If you are one of those people, you're a passive, aggressive beta male or female.
I mean, on my ads, I've had a lot of hate on there. So sometimes if people will comment things that doesn't make sense.
That people that haven't even worked with you.
Yeah, they don't even know me at all. And they'll be like, scam, this, that. And I'm like, do you even know? You've probably not even looked into who I am in any way. Yeah. But it's just people
still hurts your feelings though, doesn't it?
I think you have to have a thick skin eventually.
Yeah.
But
it still hurts feelings to start though, doesn't it?
At the start,
it's not made of wood, are you? No. But if you do need to get a thicker skin, because you will get that no matter who you are, especially if you're creating some noise within an industry.
I think you have to now. The only way you can get noticed is that you need to be online. And you need to be a little bit opinionated in some way or form. A little bit, not much. Yeah. But the thing is that you need to also, if you push yourself out there, you have to be prepared to get
pushed back.
Crap on your thing, on your ads or whichever. I think you've been quite naive if you think that I'm going to make a big online business and not get any comments like that.
Well, you've seen a lot of people, you just said it a little bit then, and we spoke about it earlier, people will try and be controversial on purpose just to get attention. Yeah. And you can quite easily, I just said, it's quite easy I can get attention quite easy. Just go to a primary school and shoot all the children. Don't do that, by the way. I'm not condoning it, but I'd be famous. I'd be famous on the front page of all the newspapers, wouldn't I, straight away? Or I could dye my hair blue or pink and start having really controversial decisions. Or I could post really racist things online. Yeah. And do you know what? You'd get polled. You'd probably get some people agree and some people hate. You'd probably get a really big following, but that's a cheat's way of getting attention, as far as I'm concerned. You get attention from giving value, having something that's genuinely valuable to people, and eventually, you can get attention just by doing that rather than shortcutting.
You have to create your tribe, basically. I think you have to look at Donald Trump and all these people, whoever politicians, I suppose, is the biggest example, isn't it? They get the country moving, but I think you can't be one person for everyone, though. No. I think you have to have some way of your own kind of people that follow you, or your way of method of doing something. Because
definitely.
Because then, I think you need that. Otherwise, you'll just get blended in with everyone else.
Exactly. So the more authentic you are as a person, the more people that are in line with you will gravitate towards you, and the people that aren't will move away from you. If you're too vague and too general because you don't want to offend anyone in any way, and you want to please everybody, you're just going to blend into obscurity, aren't you, basically?
Well, you have to be yourself. I think everyone has a character. They just don't show it.
Yeah.
And they're just afraid of maybe they won't like me the way I am, or, like me at this early days, I didn't share that much about my DJing side because I thought people just think I go out and get off my head and I'm a clubber. And so, don't get me wrong, back maybe in the day I might have done, but still, I think it's still part of me, and it'll always be, because I love music. I still DJ and everything. So, but I think that I find that when I share that stuff now, people gravitate to that more than they look at me in a different way. I think everyone has different layers to them. Some might be really into football and stuff, and they support a team, and then maybe parent does as well. Yeah. And then they can gravitate. And people like to find their little tribes, and I think that's. They do, yeah. I think that's, if they don't show it and they just say, yeah, we're just a school that does all sorts, but they don't. You're just like vanilla then, aren't you? You just don't blend. You just blend into everything.
Trying to please everyone and you please nobody. In what's a noisy marketplace, people are going to gravitate towards people that are more in line with their own personal values. 100%.
I think it's I think the more you can show yourself and the more you can make yourself different you don't need much marketing then.
No, well, that is the marketing, isn't it? Being who you are. Yeah. Like I said, you're going to basically exclude the ones intentionally or non-intentionally. You're going to exclude the ones that aren't interested in you, and you're going to pull the ones in that are.
One of the exercises I used to get a lot of clients to do, I still do actually to this day, is I did this challenge, like 5-day challenge thing, and then one of the first things I get them to do is write out their story and then put it online. A lot of people just didn't want to as well, and they was like, I don't know what to say, and so I was like, just be you, because you've been through a lot of crap, and everyone has in life. You have to, unfortunately, but then when they put it on there, that's the bit that gets the most engagement and the
people
most
nosy. That's why, and people like drama. So if you had a bit of drama going on in your life, people are going to engage with it. Yeah. And they're gonna bond to you, as we said earlier. People need to. If they spend 7 hours of interacting with you in some way or another, they're gonna feel that they actually know you in the same degree that they would an acquaintance.
And like with my story, I do share a lot about my body shop and stuff like that, because it's important. If another business owner knows that I started my own business, sold it, but I went through all that crap in between, which most people
failed your way to success.
Then they relate with you a lot more, you know, rather than if I don't share it and just say, I just started a marketing company and I do this. I think I found that being a huge factor for a lot of people, is just that part of your story. So everyone has it. There's some, like even as a school owner, why did they get into it? Either they got bullied or something like that.
If something would have triggered them to do their martial arts training.
They never share it. They just say, I don't want to put my story, I don't want to put my face to it.
Do you know why? It's because they're going to put themselves in a vulnerable position, aren't they? Yeah. And no one likes to do that, just in case people don't like it.
But vulnerability is actually the best marketing. Actually, it's just like, I know you don't have to market it that way, but that makes you real. You know, there's so much fakeness online.
Yeah, of course.
Just, but I think it's important. Like, so what would you say is, have you, in terms of your schools and stuff, helped you differentiate? Because you guys got a lot of schools all over, and I find this a lot where with some clients where they're trying to market themselves, but they just blend into it. Like, how do you make you guys stand out?
Good question, because I wasn't always. I named myself, and then named the organisation British Military Martial Arts. It says exactly what it does on the tin. I read a book called Purple Cow.
Yes,
have you read it?
Seth Godin one.
Yeah, because for those that haven't heard the story, good book to read actually from a marketing perspective. And I'm glad you said you read it, because if you come from a marketing background, it's one of the go-to ones, isn't it? Basically, if you drive past a field of cows, you don't see them. Their camouflage isn't to blend in with the grass; it's to blend in with each other. And if there was a purple cow on the field, you'd spot it straight away. So in business, you need to be the purple cow. You need to be the one that's standing out from everybody else. When I read that, I thought, right, obviously my school, it's been the same anyway. I hadn't changed my product at all. I just changed the name to be a slightly different. So everyone hears it and goes, you'll know exactly. If you've heard British Military Martial Arts, you've heard of it. It's not everyone. It's so-and-so's Black Belt Academy. So-and-so's this. Like, every school's called that, isn't it? And mine was Lee Matthews Black Belt Academy to start with, and then everybody had a Black Belt Academy or had a so-and-so's School of Excellence, and then I thought, right, I need to change it. So I took my name out of it as well. The bigger I got, the more I thought, right, I'm going to pull myself out of this now. This is bigger than me. I didn't want to be like, some guru at the top when I'm not. I'm just like the lead scout. I'm just slightly ahead of the game. I'm the lead instructor, and I pull all the right guys in. I wanted all the other instructors to buy into it as much as me, and it to be our brand. So renamed it British Military Martial Arts, and then people knew what it is. And then we just played on the brand more. So obviously I was a military PTI. So all the classes, the way we teach and the way I teach in my training course is with a sense of urgency and with a military feel to it. Lots of, high energy classes. And then there's that structure and discipline from the military as well, which is integrated very much into our classes, more so than you would see in some of the others. More like you do in traditional classes. And I like that. So I thought, let's just play on that somewhat. So that's helped with the growth of it as well, I'd say.
Do you think it's ever put parents off? Being
probably
a little bit,
I didn't care. But enough to open 200 schools. You don't need to sign everyone up.
But
people worry about that. You're going to go sign everyone in your community.
But that's a good thing, though. That's what I'm trying to get to. Sometimes you want to attract the people that you want as well.
I did when I first changed it, and I've actually had people complain saying I don't agree with what the military do and everything. You're definitely not suitable to this school then. You're going to hate what we do for the black belt with the kids.
Well, it's part of you, isn't it? As well, it's going to come out.
If you don't like the military, then you're not going to like you're going to like me and what I'm doing, regardless of what you think the military stand for. I remember seeing your brand first time. This was before I knew much about you at all, and I was like, it stood out straight away. And I was like, that's a great name actually. It's like, but then when I read it in my mind, I kind of knew what it was, which makes a big difference. It's like I knew that this is going to be next level. It's going to be not easy to do. It's going to be very disciplined. Yeah,
and it
loads of fitness.
It makes sense for that to be a martial arts kind of name as well. And I thought it was a great name, really.
Brilliant. That's it. And then you've got full ownership on you, and it's fully aligned with my values and what I believe, how I like to teach, and then also all the instructors that come in. So everyone's fully invested into the brand. They all teach exactly the same. Like literally carbon copies if you go to the different schools. Slightly different personalities, obviously. They're all following the same principles and teaching concepts. And the way you interact with everyone, 3 points of contact, audio, visual and kinesthetic, being catered for within classes, adding a sense of urgency, all the classes being high energy and fast paced, and good use of voice and kind of following that military theme. Even so, some of the instructors aren't military. You wouldn't know which ones were and which ones weren't once you've seen them, once they've been trained our way. So we've had to keep continuity and consistency with the brand as well. That's really important, but that's what's helped us. So we've had a good, strong brand and logo as well. Talk about this a lot. Some really shitty logos out there, like just overly complicated or squiggly, and they can't be printed. No one's thinking ahead. If you've got a logo, it's got to be fairly simple and bold. And then you've got to be able to, it's got to be printable. You've got to be able to put it onto tops. You've got to be able to put it onto suits. If it's just a big bulky thing, tiger claw or whatever eagle claw or eagle fang or whatever it's called.
Actually, it's question actually on that I think would help a lot of people, especially if they've got martial arts school. Like you're talking about logos.
Yeah.
How have you been monetizing more with your school in the sense of selling other things? So one of the things that I think would be really beneficial for people to hear is like, martial arts is lessons.
Yeah.
You can't, that's great. You do lessons and you got membership coming in. Do you guys do anything different to bring more income in?
Income stream generators?
Because most of them just have one income stream, or they might just sell a few hoodies here and there. But, I think that might be quite good for people to hear.
That's a good question, that is. So with that, basically, what you'd have is you have integrated within your syllabus, you should have kit sales, because you progress, don't you? Some people make them buy everything at the start. We don't. They join up, they have like a basic beginner suit. So we keep the point of entry fairly low, so you're not going to have any objections, and they can join in anywhere between £50 and £100 to join at one of our schools, and they get a suit, starter pack, and then they're good to go. So from that, it's just a basic white suit. It's got a logo on the front breast. So then once they get going, after a couple of months, so the average student, they say stays, it's going to leave, they leave within 12 weeks. So what we do is for the first belt, 12 weeks is 3 months. The first belt at 3 months, they've got to have the kit. So they have the full sparring kit for that. So if someone has the full sparring kit, are they more likely to stay? They are, aren't they? Because they've invested more into it then. So you want them to fully commit into that. And that's also another income stream. But I don't class those as income streams because that's the syllabus and you've got to have it anyway.
It's a retention thing, isn't it?
Yeah, and you've got to have that anyway. And you have like your light contact gloves, like boxing gloves as you go further, and you have different colour suits. So we don't have too much more. We don't do weapons or anything, but that's pretty much what you get. And then you get your black belt and you get your black suit. So the syllabus, but that's not your income streams. That's your syllabus. That's got to be done anyway. Income stream for kit would be additional sales. You can have hats, T-shirts, special offer T-shirts as well. And, you know, different fight squad suits, track suits, bags, kit bags, air bags to carry the pads. So summer, you get different stuff for summer as well, baseball caps. And all of our schools are pretty good on that, and especially the full-time ones. We have a big pro shop. So if you've got the stuff in and people can see it, they'll get it. There's all sorts of services out there as well now where you can buy a couple for your pro shop. Then you can get them ordered online and they literally make them for you and have them to you within a few weeks.
Yeah,
my friend's got that.
Andy
Cleves.
Yeah, I was just about to say.
So he's got that, and that's going really well. So even if you're a satellite school now, you can just put a catalogue together. You see, so you got kit sales from that, but then we also do additional things. You do seminars, karate parties. Summer barbecues,
birthdays,
monthly events. Yeah, you can do the karate parties are brilliant for the birthdays because guess what? If you've got a martial arts school with 200 or 300 people, you've got 200, 300 birthdays every year. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So I don't know. You've got flipping 50 or 60 a month possible ones if you mark it to all the.
I think that's really, really good. I think most of them don't think of it that way. I think they look at that. We need to get birthday parties, but we need to get it outside people coming in.
You don't need to do that because what you do for that, say for example, you've got 100 students, right? You've got that's 8 a month of. So if you've got 200, that's 16 a month. I don't. It's approximate. That's not exact numbers. Don't quote me on that. So I've been punched too many times. But you've got in and around ballpark. You know, if you got do it this way. You've got 240 students. Yeah. There you go. That's nice and easy then, haven't you? Then you've got 20 people. Birthdays a month. That's a lot, isn't it? 20 birthdays a month. You should be able to get at least one of those in, shouldn't you? You should be able to get a few of them in. And then what they do is you charge them. You can just charge them £5 per person, maximum for 20 people. You know, or you don't need to charge it. You can charge what you want, and then they bring the cake. You just provide the games. So you know that's something like that. That's what £100 or something like that. Would you get? How much is that? So you got
I think that you could.
So and then from that, what you do, you don't just do the party and then say bye everybody. You do karate games. You make it fun. You get animated. You could dress one of the junior instructors up as Kung Fu Panda or Spider-Man. Spider-Man and Batman have a fight off. But what kid's not going to go mad for that? Do you know what I mean? It's like really have fun while you're doing it. And then at the end of it, you give everyone a goodie bag. You make sure there's gift vouchers in there, and then you take all their details. You need the details anyway if you've got children on site. Parents are allowed to stay as well if they want to, and a lot of them will help out within the karate party. And then at the end of it, what you do is you can offer all of them a special offer. And what I normally do is a separate intro just for that party. Just say that all of you can come together to a special intro and do it as an intro then a week or so afterwards. If you've got 20 people there, you might get 8 or 9 of them there, especially if they all know that they're going. And you'll sign 80% of them up as long as you...
Well, I suppose, if you're doing birthday party for one of your members, then they're going to bring friends of theirs, aren't they, really? And that's how you're just like...
Exactly, they're bringing their friends with them and they're bringing them in.
Because I was wondering about who to do the intro, but that makes more sense now.
and then you just run an intro. So that's one example. Yeah. So they're small income stream generators. You've got seminars as well. All of these things help as well. So you're providing a service for people. They're going to go and do a party somewhere for the kid. Anyway, if you've got children, you normally have your parties. You don't want loads of little shits running around messing your house up, do you? Yeah. So you take them somewhere else. You send them to, we used to do them at McDonald's, I don't know if they're doing there anymore, the local ice skating rink. They cost a fortune. If you bring them just somewhere like that and you pay a set fee, they bring the cake, you provide the games, have them there for an hour, it's all done, it's all good. And then you're providing a service for them. Or you can do a barbecue in the summer, that's what we do. Charge people, or you can charge them half price if they bring a friend, or free if they bring a friend. So, and then you can have food, drinks, and you're building a community. And if they're bringing a non-membered friend, you take all their details. Because if you say you get him for free if you bring a friend, then they're going to bring a friend, aren't
Yeah,
they? Or if it's going to cost £10 per person, or it's £5 if you bring a friend, they're going to bring a friend. So that's another good way of doing it. And then you do, obviously, another way of generating extra incomes as well is we do additional like satellite classes in and around the area. So if you've got your academy and you think you've kind of maxed out a little bit, go to some of the primary schools in and around your area, send your junior instructors out to them, and you can either run after school clubs for 6 weeks. This is what we do. So you do them for 6 weeks, and they will charge a set fee for the thing, and the school pay it, or the students pay for it. And on the last belt, you bring them to the academy, you make the parents come there, and you do like a mini presentation. We even do like a half belt with them. It's not a proper belt because they have to do the full yellow still. They give them like a half yellow. So they've got something around. If you've got a flipping like a half yellow, you need to put it on something, don't you?
Yeah.
And then you do a special offer on that night, and you pre-frame everybody and let them know. So you're making money coming in from either an after-school club, or you can just open it and run little satellites there, and then just keep doing that. Even if you've got them for a year and you have to close them, you can bring them all in and pad your numbers up at your school and bring it up to higher levels. There's always something, you can be doing there.
No, that's because one of the big things I see is like most of them don't have multiple income streams, and I think it's quite important that you should try to put something in. You can't just rely just on memberships.
No, that's it. And like some people say, you can, in some instances, you can charge for the year if people want to, but I wouldn't do more than 10% of your student base, because, as I mentioned earlier, you're just going to have a liability then. You're going to have to, you're going to an obligation to fulfill that training without any future money coming in. Gradings are obviously an income stream generator as well, aren't they? And they're also a necessity for the students. So again, it's a win-win. They've got to be tested. You can create a big event. I used to do a massive one at Oaken Gates Theatre. Yeah. I've had Jean-Claude Van Damme there. I've had Richie Woodall. I've had I used to take them and I used to use that for PR as well. And I get the local papers in, and so I do all sorts. You haven't got to go as big as that, but that's what I did do back in the day. And I would have thousands of people in the event, like rent a place called Oaken Gates Theatre out with all the live bands and all the gigs and everything used to be, and comedians. So we'd have the whole place out.
That's awesome, actually.
And then you charge a spectator fee, obviously, it's costing you more.
Well, but PR, isn't it? PR. No one does PR properly, do they?
It's just all that. Yeah. If you're recording all that, that goes out on your social media as well. And guess what? You do a special offer on the day for all the spectators if anyone wants to join up with gradings, can't you? Because there's loads of people coming to watch.
But then it's also associations with, if you're bringing all these acts in and stuff like that, then people's perception of you is like, oh, you're connected as well.
Yeah.
So that I think is in marketing its own as well. It's
of course, yeah.
And then obviously you're just completely different to any other school then, We
had Nigel Benn as well, worked with him extensively for a few years as well. Did seminars with him up and down the country. Then we brought him to some of the gradings and stuff. So that was a great little bit of fun. So for yourself then, Swap, what's next? What's your next plan? As you've infiltrated the martial arts world, you're obviously still going to be working with that to some degrees, but are you expanding your horizons somewhat?
Yeah, I mean, like to date, I think I've probably worked with 400 schools.
Wow, really? That's amazing.
Within the 6 years.
Congratulations.
So it's quite a lot. I mean, it's probably more, but people won't believe me, because if we look at like your franchises and stuff like that, and it's like some of them have quite a lot of schools, multi-schools and stuff.
If you add it that way,
I'm not
in the thousands. Like if you add up mine and some of the other collective school owners.
But if I put that as like a thing, people won't believe. They'd hardly believe when I say it now. Just so
that's good marketing. You should just put. I can't tell you how successful I actually really am. Otherwise, you wouldn't believe me. That should be your marketing line. Should not know you.
Probably will use that. Actually, I don't know if that will work, but I'll give it a go. But. Now, my next plan is literally expanding out. It's helping more businesses, really.
Outside of martial arts?
Yeah.
What type of niche?
So I'm thinking of coaches and consultants.
Yeah, so still a similar thing then, because that martial arts are kind of coaches and consultants, aren't they?
What I've done for myself, because the majority of my thing has been like coaching martial arts schools.
It's what you do. You're a coach and consultant.
Yeah. So
you're actually teaching people to that, but you've actually done it, you mean?
Yeah.
Not one of these
It's just funny because we were
pyramid schemes. Yeah.
Because we were chatting about that earlier. So it's just, but I've kind of done it. I've, scaled a multi-six-figure business through just the coaching side. Then I've got the agency as well. So for me is to show other coaches, I suppose for online coaches as well, because mine has been all online. So that is probably the industry I think I'll probably go into and help more people trying to maybe start and scale their business. I think maybe for people that are like coaches that are at 10K, 5K per month, and then helping them scale up, because they've already got a product.
Yeah.
So I think, I'm still trying to figure it out, because at the end of the day, that industry is huge. There's a lot of big players.
So is the competition as well, though, isn't it?
Exactly.
Yeah. So, but you did the right thing first. You got a micro niche, which is martial arts instructors.
Yeah.
It's not just martial arts, which is niche. Martial arts instructors, which is a niche within the niche, isn't it, basically? And you've literally pulled yourself, you've climbed right to the very top of that. So if you're a martial arts school, most people know you are. And if they don't know you are in the martial arts school and
Reach
you're
out.
listening, you should, now you do. And it can realize.
I've had a lot of people say I've seen your ads. So like,
that's the point. You should have.
So, I'm excited. I'm a bit nervous, scared, whatever you want to. It's actually excitement, isn't it? I'm feeling. So, of going into such a bigger industry, but I know I've done it for myself, so it's very likely that I'll be able to help people, because if I haven't, then there's no point teaching that. So
no, of course.
But yeah, it's just I think I'll have to try figuring out a niche in there. I don't know. I think it's like health and fitness coaches, maybe. I don't know, or just going for more business coaches. I don't know. I'm not sure yet. So it's still early stages, but I'll still be doing a lot in the martial arts industry.
Yeah, anyway, that's right. And you'll be at our events as well, the elite stuff. So if anyone's about and and working with us, they'll get to see you and hear about what you do with the paid ads and all the rest of it as well. And
then there's a US market I'm thinking about for the martial arts industry.
Break America.
Yeah,
it's a big one to break, isn't it?
Well, yeah, it's just time zones, but that's it really. But I think I've worked with a few already.
How does it work? Does it cross over just as well?
Yeah.
Does it?
The languaging on the ads is slightly different.
Yeah.
So like Raymond, who I worked with.
Yeah.
So
did you do that with? So you worked with Raymond after we put you in contact?
I think he got 100 students in.
Because I spoke to him. He forwarded my book, Raymond Daniels did. So, and before it had been out, I kind of, I gave him the book and he read through it just as he'd moved to Texas.
Yeah.
He moved out of California to Texas. So he read the book and put me in contact with you, and you did the marketing, because you got both. You got the systems, and then you got the marketing coming through, and he launched his school successfully, and he's thriving over there, he said.
I need to catch up with him again, but I know he's he definitely. So that was a bit when I was going through like ads and stuff with him. So he was like, well, I've got to change this word a little bit because we don't say it like this anymore.
Yeah, of course.
So it still worked. It's that was a big validation for me that I needed. That will this work in the US market? Because. But at the end of the day, people are people, it's psychology. So, that's what I'm thinking. I'm going to probably try doing the US market and see if I can crack that.
Sounds good, mate. Brilliant. Well, listen, thank you very much for coming down today. It's been a pleasure speaking with you. And we talked about some really interesting topics, actually. Hopefully some good information for anyone. Not just martial arts, but anyone in business or just interested to hear about you, that they can.
I appreciate you getting me down, and I've not really
spoken. Up, not down.
Yeah, well there you go. Yeah, up, 3 hours.
Yeah, brilliant. Well, nice one, mate. Thank you very much.
My pleasure, man.
Cheers.